Hi, I'm Steffi Evans. Today I have a short but very intense ab workout for you. The first thing that you will need today is a ball. This is a very lightweight ball called an overball. If you don't have one, I'll put a link in your comments. This will really help your ab work. If you don't have this today, but you do have a block, you can definitely use a yoga block. I would suggest a more lightweight foam block instead of this cork block. But if you need more challenge, maybe the cork block is the way to go for you. Just a couple concepts before we get started. During this workout, I'm going to reference these landmarks. If you will put your hands on your waist and travel your fingers down to your hip bones. If you feel your hip bones and travel your fingers slightly forward, you feel those points called the ASIS. I will just call them frontal hip pointers. The second landmark I'll reference, if you put your finger right at the bottom of your breastbone or your sternum and follow the ribs down to this point of this apex of your ribs, that is the other landmark. So if I ask you to draw the frontal ribs and frontal hips together, it's as if you're taking a guitar string and tightening that space. Showing you from the side, if I see you in extension, with an arched back, I will ask to draw the frontal ribs down towards the frontal hips. I'll tighten that guitar string, and now I have a nice straight lumbar spine and a good core connection. We can also use that concept for side bending, asking you to pull one rib down to the same side or ipsilateral hip, just tightening one side, then I have side bending and a contraction of my obliques. In the same way, I can go across the body like an X, pulling frontal rib to the opposite hip, adding an element of rotation and flexion. Let's go ahead and skip ahead to the workout. Enjoy and be safe. Start standing using your ball as a prop. Using your hands, give your ball a little squeeze, helping you connect more to your center. Our posture is nice and tall. Extend that ball out in front of you and take that ball overhead. As you take the ball overhead, your ribs may splay. This is the first place I'll tell you rib to hip connection. So right here, my abs are already nice and tight. We'll add a side bend to your left side. And we're here for time. Focus on growing tall instead of going over. Try not to let the hips travel. Keep your hips directly over your feet. And if you stay here with a slight tail tuck, you'll feel a very strong contraction on your right obliques, right rib to hip connection. Take it back to the center. Other side, we go up to go over. Be very careful not to rotate in either direction. Come back to center and bring the ball to your chest. We'll do it again. Extend that ball up, take it up and over. And bending to the left, grow tall out of the left leg, and draw your tummy backwards. This should feel like work, not a stretch. Come back to center, other side. It's a small move, but we're toning the obliques and strengthening the spine. Take it back to center, bring the ball to your chest. One more, extend it up to your left. Give that ball or block a little squeeze. Challenge on this one, you can lift your opposite leg. So right leg lifts, keep your height. Bring the leg down. We'll take that over to the other side. Imagine your right leg is a tall pillar. We go up and over and find your balance. If you have a big curve in your lower back, take that out. Point your tail towards your heel. Come back to center. Lower the arms. Very good. Keep the ball or block, lift your elbows, and give that a little squeeze. Separate your feet hip distance. We're bringing the same side knee to the elbow, adding a little side bend for the obliques and other side. Give me a little hang time. Rather than going through the motions, we're focused on contracting the obliques. So I have a rib to hip connection on the right side, rib to hip connection on the left side. I'm very intentional about using the abs to get this done. Good, I'll count you down. Go 6 and 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now elbows are still up, still a squeeze. Opposite side, elbow to knee. We're adding a little bit of flexion, meaning a small forward bend with the trunk. That's going to help us activate our rectus abdominis or the six-pack muscles. Good. Exhale as you pull that knee up. Think of this like a crunch. Rotation and flexion. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Have a seat on your mat. I'll meet you there. We'll start seated on the mat. Keep your ball close. You won't need it for the first exercise. Remember, this is low repetition and high concentration and difficulty. So go slow with a lot of body awareness. Lie down on your back. Extend both legs straight up in the air. If your knees are not straight, they can keep a little bend, but keep your back very, very flat on this one. Reach up and grab one ankle, knee, back of your leg, whatever you can grab. The other leg extends down at a hover. Use your arms to pull your nose to your knee. Shoulders are relaxed. Belly is strapped to the floor. Take both hands on the outside of the leg and curl across, thinking opposite rib cage to opposite hip. Bring both legs back up and use your arms to curl up a little higher through the center. We'll take it over to the other side. Hold on to the opposite leg. The free leg comes down to a hover. We're working a twist. Bring your legs back up. Again, curl up through the center and rest your head. That was 1. We'll do it again. Curl up, grab a hold of one thigh. The other leg comes down to a hover. The leg that's down, flex your foot and reach through your heel. Draw that navel in. Good. Bring both legs up. Let's take it over to the other side. Find your hover. The upper body's twisting across, but the hips are very level and still. Take it back up through center, curl up a little higher, and lower down. For our next 2, I'll give you a variation. You can take it or leave it and choose the other one if you need. Press your palms together. Curl up outside of that leg. Make contact. Again, we drop the opposite leg, but really pull the up leg and the hands against one another, creating a little more tension for the core. Yeah, shaking already. Let's take it over to the other side. It's like a karate chop. Reach forward through that opposite heel. Come back to center. Reach up for your toes. And rest your head. We have 1 more. Take it across one side. Drop the leg. And changing sides. I know all things are easier if they're fast, but we're slowing it down and focusing on the contraction. Come back up through center. Reach for your toes. And lower. Let's do 1 more like a karate chop. Really lift your head. It's easier on your neck. Take it over to the other side. Squeeze those palms together. You got it. Reach for your toes. Lower your head. Hug your knees into your chest. Little rock side to side. Extend your arms and legs out. You can allow your back to arch some, giving your abs a short break. Good. Hopefully your ball is nearby, so grab your ball. This is one of my favorites. So I say opposite a lot because I'm not going to tell you right and left. We'll do both sides. So take the ball on one knee. It's the opposite elbow that's going to touch the knee. Okay, my head is down, just squeezing the ball between my knee and my elbow. Position your hands behind your head and take that other leg down to a hover. Lift your head, and we want a big contact, a big squeeze on the ball. The free leg is going to go up and down. If you're fancy, you can go up with a point and down with a flex. Take your time and work the twist. Notice I focus a lot on twisting, on obliques. Studies show that you work the most muscle fiber with twists. So we're going to make the most use of our time. One more. Hopefully you made that count. Okay, setting up on the other side, find the elbow to ball or block or whatever you have. Hold on behind your head and curl up. So I have one shoulder on the floor that's supporting me, but I'm working the twist. The other leg is at a hover. We go up with a point and down with a flex. Watch your hips. Make sure they stay very square. We're only doing about 6, so squeeze your ball. Last 2, make it count. Good. Get rid of that ball. Why do hundreds of crunches when you can do 6 and really feel it? Extend opposite arm, opposite legs. Give yourself a big stretch. All right. Next set. This is targeted towards the lower abs. If you put a finger on your belly button, we're working the entire region below the belly button. This is subumbilical muscles. That is the term for lower abs. Put the ball between your knees, flatten your back, and bring both knees into a true table. So I have 90 degrees. I'm squeezing the ball. If your knees are too far away from you and your back is arched, this will not work well. So find a place that challenges you, but you can maintain a flat back. We're going to keep the palms on the ground for now, and then I'll give you another variation. The idea here is to lift just the sacrum or the tailbone off the floor and then set it back down. It is a very small move. We're going to do a little lift and a little lower, reverse crunch. Visualize the ball going straight upward and not towards your head. If you make these big and you swing around a lot, you have a danger of hurting your low back. So please keep these very small and focused. It's a baby move, but you feel it. Squeeze your ball. Go for 4 and 3 and 2. Not quite done with you. Straighten one leg up to the ceiling. So your knees are side by side, right? No rotation, except one foot is standing on the ceiling. I'm going to make this more challenging with the arms, holding on to opposite shoulders and pointing the elbows up. Everything else is the same. Let's go for 10 and 9 and 8, 7, 6. Foot goes straight up to the ceiling. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend, straighten the other one. Let's find a level position, right? That's how we know our hips are level. Here we go. Here's 10 and 9. Here's 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug your knees into your chest. Keep the ball close. We're going to cycle through that entire series one more time, just a little bit faster. Here we go. Straighten both legs. Hold on behind one thigh. Curl across. Find your hover. You can choose to really use your arms here. And I'm going to do that on the first one. Hover the other leg. Curl up through center and lower down. Let's add that other arm variation. Press your palms together. Chop on one side. Find your hover. Other side, find your hover. Reach up for your toes and lower down. You have 2 more. You choose whatever suits you best. Back pain has no place here. Abs are like any other muscle group. They need strength, they need endurance, and those things take time. I believe more people try to hurt themselves, or they hurt themselves trying to do hundreds of crunches in bad form when you could just do a few in good form. Let's do one more. Let's do it. Chop across. Really pull your hands against your leg. Make it count. Other side. Reach for your toes. And hug your knees into your chest really quick. Give yourself a big stretch. Let your back arch. All right, grab your ball. We're holding between the knee and the elbow. Hands behind your head. Curl yourself up. The free leg, I'm going to start up this time, is going to go down with a flex and up with a point. You can really support your head here. I'm counting this time, no worries. Go 3 and 2. I'm a Pilates instructor. We lie on our counting. All right, other side. Let's get a good setup. Squeezing the ball, really supporting the head. I started up this time. We go down with a flex, up with a point. Right, imagine your hips are being strapped down to the floor. They're level. Give me 2 more. If your abs are on fire, you are doing it right. All right, let's roll right through those lower abs. Squeeze the ball, knees and table. If you want more challenge and less support, hands go on your shoulders. Remember, it's little, it's smaller than you think. Go for 8 and 7 and 6. If you have back pain at your waistline, you're probably going a little too big. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Straighten one leg. Really push that heel upward. That's the goal here. Straight up, not towards your head. Here's 5, and 6, 7, 8, 9, and change sides. Squeeze, squeeze. Very normal for one side to be more challenging than the other. Here's 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Keeping your ball or block. Bring your arms by your sides. Feet are hip distance apart. Curl your tailbone up into your full spinal bridge. Really puff your chest up to lengthen the abs. And lower all the way back down. For our next exercise, come up to a seated position. You will not need your ball. Come into a plank position, hands and knees, always in plank. Really spread your fingers so you transition some of your weight into your fingers. It's not all wrists. Okay, we're going to be here for a while. Extend your legs out into a full plank. Shift your shoulders right over your hands, and we're going to try to keep the hips pretty low for this one. Pull your elbow to your knee, so it's same side rib to hip, and other side. I said elbow to knee, I meant knee to elbow. You knew what I meant. Here's 2. Here's 3. We've got 6 total. Here's 4. And 5. And 6. Lower your knees, wide knees, feet together, child's pose. Come onto your belly, Sphinx pose. If you have any low back issues, please be very careful with this one. I think if you listen to the cues and you're in good form, you will be just fine. In this position, push down through your elbows and lift your chest. So yes, the back is in a back bend. We can still draw the navel into the spine without fully moving the spine. We can stay in a back bend and keep some tone in the core. That's what we want. Tuck your toes. Gather in your core, hugging your navel to your spine, and lift into a knee plank. This is our first level. Lower back down into Sphinx. Do it again. Tuck your toes, gather your core to lift into your knee plank, and lower back down. Either stay at this level or to make it more advanced, lift your knees right there into a full plank. Lower your knees. Find your Sphinx. Tuck your toes. Lift your knees. Lower your knees. And lower back down. Let's do 3 more. In plank, imagine you're pointing your tailbone towards your feet. Don't let your back sway. Drop your knees. Drop your hips. Last 2. So we get a little arm work at the same time. And 1 more. Good. Take your hands and clasp them. So the elbows are still directly underneath the shoulders, but I'm pushing the forearms and wrists into the mat. Tuck your toes and find your plank. Now for this plank, bring your feet together, and I want you to round your upper spine a little bit so you can look towards your feet. This is similar to what we did before. Pull your knee to your elbow, but we have a little more flexion, more roundness. And take it back, other side. That was 1. We have 6 total. Be very intentional about pulling that rib to hip connection together. Obviously, you'll feel a little hip action, a little upper body work. There's 4. 5. Last one. Lower your knees. Go wide knees, feet together. Stretch it out in a child's pose. Take a few deep breaths. Your last one is going to be a big challenge for you. I'm going from hands, but you could certainly modify and go from your elbows. Find your plank position. Same as before, pull your knee to your shoulder, and I'm lifting that foot way up there. Twist it across, knee to opposite shoulder. Take it back to the first shoulder and take that leg back. So we go knee to same side shoulder, twist it across, knee to shoulder, take it back into your plank. As you go, try to keep your weight balanced evenly on your two hands. I'm going to give you one more variation to challenge you. Same thing, knee to shoulder, twist it across, knee to shoulder. This time, I'm going to bend the elbows a little and drop the knee down to the wrist. Take it all the way back to the shoulder. Find your plank. Let's try that on the other side. Knee to shoulder, twist, drop to your wrist, pull it up, and take it back. We've got 2 more rounds. Twist, pull that knee all the way back up. This is a tough one. I'm sweating. Knee to wrist, glide it up. 1 more each side. Last one. Twist, lift, lower your knees. Child's pose. That was a significant amount of shoulder work. Walk yourself up to sitting. Lie down on your back. Let's cool it down. Reach your arms overhead, reach your legs to the front of the mat. We'll take our banana pose here. So don't try to side bend too much. Find a spot that's reasonable for you, that you feel a gentle stretch. I'm going to take my upper body to one side and my legs over to the same side. If you need a little more, you can grab a hold of the wrist and give it a little pull. Take some nice deep breaths into that stretch side. It's okay for your back to arch just slightly. And we'll walk it over to the other side. Again, it's a little more about length than it is about crunching into your waist. Find some space in your side body. Come back to center. Hug both knees into your chest. Little rock side to side. I hope this workout was very challenging on your core, but not leading to repetitive injury on the neck. Set your feet down. I am going to give you a little right and left cues here. Lift your hips, put them over to the left slightly. And take your knees over to the right elbow into your twist. Nice little pop in my back. Never force a twist. Breathe into it. Come back through center. Other side. So bump your hips a little over to your right and take the knees to the left elbow. Roll over onto either side. Push yourself up to sitting. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great one.